Ooh, should I be goddamn big bitch? No, wait, he
Yeah.
doesn't say that, does he?
God damn, that's a big bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
change it. Go ahead.
rename.
That's good as well because I never have enough time at the beginning before I start editing. So, goddamn big bitch. Like it. Ranking the posters, ranking the posters, ranking the posters with Mike and Tom. And a PowerPoint presentation. Some of this is worse than Terminator Salvation. It's Kismet shit for your ass that we're back ranking the posters of the sequels of the Beverly Hills Cop series. I'm Tom Stewart from Lonesome Whistle Productions, a subsidiary of Wonderworld Incorporated, and god damn, that's a big bitch! It's
Thank
Mike
you.
Chance from the How Dare You Awards. I don't know
Think
why I'm
how
shouting. I can hear you perfectly well. I'm sure you can hear me perfectly well. I think I'm just excited.
excited.
Yes.
Think how big I was when I used to have hair.
Well, well, was it standing on top of your head like Kid and or Play? I
Well,
forget
maybe not
which.
that big,
I
but
forget which had that haircut.
you can kind of,
Was it
know,
Kid or Play? Do you remember? I'm asking the wrong person, aren't I?
kid.
Kid.
I'm
Yeah.
confident I can say kid had the tall hair.
um.
I'm sad that I know that.
Yeah. I thought of the two of us, I would know that rather than you.
I don't like that I know that.
It's taken up a bit of your brain to know that.
Ugh.
Something has been dislodged. Some key bit of information has been dislodged from your brain to make way for the knowledge that Kid is the one with the big hair.
Exactly. Fucking ode to my phone. Gone.
Well, here we are. We've come to the end of the line um, with the Beverly Hills Cop series, which concluded in, or as far as we know, in 2024. So
So far.
yeah, so we're right up to date. Any final thoughts about the series? We've had a little bit of time in between recording this and finishing the episodes. So,
Yeah,
and I probably well, you edited them, so you would have listened to them, but we've
yeah,
listened to the episodes, so we can actually reflect on that too.
I do have one overall arching thing that's been nagging at me ever since we entered the courtroom
Uh-huh.
for Beverly
Axel
Hills
F.
Cop 3 and XLF.
Oh yeah, I guess we were in the courtroom for both. It was a
Yeah,
double
more
trial.
so Axel F, I suppose, but it's certainly within our verbiage and our jargon. But
Yeah.
I I realized that at one point when I was talking about Axel F, I said I didn't really know like where to start with. I had trouble saying. I said, in regards to the director, I said I don't know if competent is the right word, and you said it's not. I said
It's
it's
not.
absolutely not. And and then one of the things I realized is sort of like when I write something and I want somebody to look at it,
Yeah.
one of the first questions I ask is, did you understand it?
Hmm.
Did it make sense?
Okay.
Did one scene go to the next in a way that didn't jar you, or was there something you didn't understand? And I think that's what I meant by competence in his direction, was that
Yeah.
the whole movie made sense to me. I understood what was happening in each scene, why we went to the next scene. So it had that baseline of competence and nothing else.
Yeah. I understand that. I think the point you made that is sort of really incontestable is that it it's an easy watch as far as
Mhm.
IP cinema goes. Like it I think by design tries not to bump you as a viewer.
Right.
I think
And
that's
I
its
think it tries
purpose.
to gently rub you with
Yeah.
nostalgia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's
It's like a
I
pat on
guess
the back.
I
Maybe
guess
it's not
I'm not saying
like
that
that.
it's not effective. I'm just saying it's pointless.
Yeah.
So
That's fine. That's fine.
and I think that's where it's sort of like that's what it's going to come that it's inoffensive, but that inoffensiveness is offensive in a different way to me.
Right.
And I think
Yes.
that's where I kind of landed, but I certainly I think yeah, I definitely had a much easier time watching it than most late in the day IP cinema quasi reboots of the series of a series
Hmm.
that I've seen in the past few years.
Yeah.
So and so something that we never we kind of well I introduced and then never came back to surprising as that may
Oh, we
sound.
got sidetracked. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Was Axel F. I can't believe we didn't explore this the subtitle
The
because
title. Yeah.
yeah because I feel like I could have got some
You could have got
mileage.
some points out of that. Yeah.
I really felt that was a missed opportunity, not just because it's the it's a lousy title, but also because the precedent for Axel F is the Crazy Frog song. Or I mean, is the theme called the Axel F theme?
It's called XLF. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what the Crazy Frog song is referring to, and then this is referring to the Crazy Frog song or the thing. Like
I
why?
don't know.
Yeah. So it's a reference to the music because he's not called Axel F in any other context, right? Apart from the theme.
Correct. Yeah. Nobody nobody's walking down the street and says, "Hey, what's up, XLF?" It's just Foley. So
And you know how
so
much it irritates me that people do that anyway. So,
yes,
in a town where he is an undercover policeman.
correct.
Um,
So
yeah,
yes,
okay.
technically I would say it has to be a reference to the song. But
And
yeah, I mean
also
there's
because
just
people know it
something.
through the Crazy Frog. I mean, now I don't put any
Well,
of this
that's your
past.
thing. I don't
Well, I
know.
don't put,
Like,
but no, but I'm trying to think like a Netflix executive who cares about nothing but getting people to engage for 10 seconds or more.
mhm.
So, I mean, should it have been called Axel Foley or Foley? But
I would
they
have.
thought,
I don't think it should be called any of those things. I would have called it Beverly Hills Cop 4. You know me.
I know you, but
Stick with your
algorithmically,
fucking numbers.
algorithmically was Axel F the best way to go, and that's why it's called that.
I think somebody. This is what I think. If the choices
By
were
the way, I've never used
Axel,
the word algorithmically before, but it describes perfectly what I'm trying to say. So I'm
congratulations, you've
actually,
done well. Yes, it rolled off the tongue. But I think if the choices were Axel, Axel F, and Axel Foley, I bet there was somebody in a room that said, I don't know, Axel doesn't sound like enough. And
huh,
somebody else that said, Axel Foley, it just seems too long. Which is weird because
yeah,
considering how unwieldy titles can get nowadays.
yeah.
But there was some joker in the room that was like, I got it. Axel F. Thanks, Jenkins.
But,
So
oh, we haven't heard from Jenkins in a while.
yeah.
Probably because he's running a studio now. Um, yeah, but then the next logical question, at least for me, is why is the theme called Axel F and not the Axel Foley theme? It's
Oh,
not
I don't
like
know.
you
That's a
know, it's
music question, Tom. Shut up.
it's not like in Star Wars, Leia's theme is called L's theme.
Princess L. The Princess
Princess
L theme.
Princess L theme. Um, yeah. So I don't I that's a whole kind of
Yeah. I guess I
can of worms that
it's a can of worms, and just to kind of bottom line the conversation, I think you would have had some uppercuts to the gut
Yeah.
bringing up that title because it's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not good, and I don't think it was chosen for the right reasons either. You know, the reasons that titles are normally chosen.
but you can complain about that from your jail cell because
Oh, you think
convicted.
you? Oh yeah, convict, eh? Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, you know, Jack Derrida said a title is a promise,
Mm.
and so I don't think Axel F is a promise of anything. I don't, it doesn't promise anything. Oh, I suppose
Just
it
the fact that
promises
he's
that.
back at all after so
Yeah.
many years, that's really all it is. But
Well, he was never away. It was just the series that was away.
right.
They never did a Beverly Hills Cop without Axel Foley.
Hmm.
He is the Beverly. He is the Beverly
He
Hills
is the
Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop. It's
It
as though
should,
we forgot that title because it's been so long. Beverly
you
Hills
should
Cop is coming back.
you should
Who's
have
that?
Toby
Who's that again? Axel F. Don't you remember?
Toby from the West Wing holding up a sign saying Axel Foley is the Beverly Hills Cop, not Axel Foley for Beverly Hills Cop.
He is the president.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean so that was that struck me, and yeah, I guess um we haven't talked about what we're going to do next, which we probably
No,
should have done in advance of this episode. So maybe there'll be a maybe we'll have the conversation live, Bill O'Reilly style.
oh no.
That doesn't
Well,
mean I'll
I'm
be.
perfectly ready to curse you out at any moment for no reason whatsoever.
But yeah, we've normally had that conversation by now. I've got a suggestion. Maybe I could try it out on you live, and if if you reject it, then we'll cut to you'll see a cutaway to we're having technical difficulties or
Yeah,
something.
a guy drunk behind holding the
Yeah,
camera
but
with
that's
the
kind of
Simpsons card.
It's kind of thrilling that we have that conversation live. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it beyond one of two things. I thought it would be nice to do only a series with only two sequels,
Oh,
some reason in my head. And then I thought,
well, hold on
well,
to that thought.
if we can't think of one of those, then we should just do something obscenely long.
What, just one obscenely long sequel?
No, I
Oh,
mean
you mean like
a a bunch of I don't know.
Amityville,
I don't know.
Amityville
Yeah,
length.
yeah, yeah. I swear to God, I was trolling around on IMDb or something, and there was a Amityville movie. I I don't even think it was last year. I think it was this year. A
Yeah.
sequel from this year right fucking now on some platform.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
It's not stopping anytime soon.
I think you know uh those websites, those online ministries where you can get ordained as as a priest
Oh yeah. I've
to
got one of those.
marry your friends. I've got one too.
Yeah.
I does so you can marry friends. I think there's an equivalent for there's like an Amityville website where you give them like $50 and then you get
You
to
can
put
make a movie.
Amityville. Then you can make a movie with the word Amityville in it.
Nice.
It's got to be right. That's the only explanation for why
Yeah.
there's a plague of Amityville movies out there. That if anything is getting more virulent.
Oh, it's great.
Oh
All right.
we'll circle back to that.
We'll
It
come
was just
back to it.
a dawning realization that we haven't had that conversation, and we're going to need to have it by the end of the episode. But hold on to that thought about two sequels. I might have something that will satisfy that itch for you.
All right.
Either that, or I guess we're doing Fast and Furious. Uh,
Exactly. Just in time for the next movie to come out.
yeah, we should wait. I think at this point it's a bit like Mission Impossible. It
Those
would
are the
be
two because I think they're
spiteful
both
not to
ending after
wait.
their next movies,
Yeah.
and
By the
then
way,
we could take a whole year doing those
yeah.
sequels.
Well, also, I didn't realize how far along the Naked Gun. Um, I was going to say reboot, but judging by the trailer, it's not a reboot at all. It's a sequel.
Yeah,
Is
I thought the exact same thing. So you
so
saw that preview?
well. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I did. But I
Initial
thought.
thoughts, or do you want to
Well, I
hold
thought
off?
we'd be handling it as a Patreon property because
Right.
we could do the original and we could do the
We don't
reboot.
have to pay attention. We never do in the past, so
Yeah,
we
but
can we can
it's another Candyman
yeah.
scenario in that but now we both know it's
Yeah, that's
well, I
true.
guess we'd have to go and see it to get full confirmation of whether it's a sequel or not, but it's pretty clear. I mean, unless that scene
It
is
seems clear.
yeah, they're all the children of
Yeah.
it's like Muppet Babies for no, not Muppet Babies because that's the younger version of what's
Because they're actually babies, but it's as though the Muppet Babies grew up and now run the Muppet Show.
yeah, but what's an example of the children where the next generation takes over. Not Star Trek, the next generation, but like your actual kids take over the franchise. Someone's kids. It seems like there
Mm.
should be lots of examples, and I can't pull
And I
any of
can't
them right.
pull one from my memory. Ah, man, I don't know.
I think it happens quite a lot in Japanese martial arts cinema.
Okay.
Like they just take the story on generation after generation, but I can't think of it too much in Western cinema.
Yeah.
But it seems like sequels should be doing that all the time, no? Like,
Right.
um,
It's the easiest way to go. It's what
yeah,
Top Gun Maverick would have been, except Tom Cruise was still in it
that's true. Yeah.
and better at his job, like you said.
Getting getting better. Well, you know, if we're gonna get into corrections, I'm pretty sure the sound barrier's already been broken, right?
I don't think that was the thing. That was the thing you made up in
that
your
was the
own
thing.
head. That's your own
I
head canon.
that's what I no, but that's what I mean. It's like I don't think it was him breaking the sound barrier. I think that's well established by now. Probably the lights, you know, the he
Because
light
I think
speed
he's on the
record.
verge of outer space in that fucking thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very nearly goes into the Stargate, as I remember it.
Yeah.
And also, just you know, to avoid having a fatwa put on me, I meant uh, hijab, not jihad. When
Understood.
say no more
I
because it
thought
will
you
get you killed.
I thought you wanted to be less like Salman Rushdie. Didn't you say that once?
I want to be less like. Did I say that once? I want to be less like Salman Rushdie.
I thought you
Not
said you
more.
want to look less like him so that you're not murdered.
Oh yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of I kind of envy his kind of fatwaed existence though. The excuse to stay indoors
Away from people.
away from people without I just go fatwa can't come out. Sorry, fatwa. You know I'd love to, but fatwa.
Every movie deserves to be seen in a movie theater, Tom. I'd love to. However,
Yeah,
fatwa.
yeah.
Sorry. Can't do it.
Except for Axel F.
Yeah.
What do you think that would look like blown up? What do you think Axel F would look like blown up on a theater screen? Would the scene start to show?
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it,
Wow,
probably.
I'm coming up with better arguments now than I did on the episode against Axel F.
I
Yeah,
bet it would, in my mind, it wouldn't take up a whole screen. Otherwise, it would look stretchy, a little too stretchy. They'd have to box it up a little bit. I don't know
it'd
what
be
that ratio, that
yeah,
aspect ratio is, but because I don't think it would be, what's the box ratio that they did with
four
the
three. No,
4:3, I want to say, but
16:8.
with
I'm just
the
saying numbers now.
the what's his name's cut of Super
20
Friends. Why can't
24/17. Yeah, well, did it be like stealing it off YouTube essentially? Because you'd have like it would just be a box within a box, and
Right,
then the rest of the
right.
screen would have like a woman watching it on a screen like that, going
Yes, yes.
I watched several episodes of Wise Guy like that because they
Of
were never
course you did.
they were never commercially released because they contain it
Too
was
much
a
violence or
no no he's far stupider than that. It was a there was a story strand about
the Pope.
Vinny Vinny working under sorry, I think Ken Wall's called Vinny. Is he called Vinny? Yeah, I think
That
so.
sounds
Ken
right.
Wall. Um
Starring Ken Wall.
Starring Ken Wall. Um Set in a music studio where he's trying to rattle a corrupt music producer played by Tim Curry. And of course, like every week, there's three or four major kind of like pop hits featured in it from like the 50s and 60s. And so they could
Yeah.
never get the combined rights for all of them to release it. So it's just missing from the series when it was released on streaming. So I had to kind of go through the various tainted versions on YouTube, which would be at best like would have like theater curtains around it, and
Yeah,
at
right.
worst would be
Yeah.
a woman watching it on a screen going within the screen going
Yeah.
like that. I was just like,
Like you see feet with,
yeah,
a video camera, but feet.
it was like an unintentional Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Well,
All right. I
yeah, I
feel
think
like we got sidetracked. Surprise.
we took we
What are
talked
we here
around it
for?
enough.
Because I don't remember.
What are we here for? We're here for Beverly Hills Cop.
Now, are now here's an interesting thought.
Uh-huh.
Have you conceded to allow the XLF poster to be seen?
What, by human eyes?
No, well, I thought maybe you might come in here with an argument saying this is a stream and this isn't a real poster
Well,
and we should not allow it. And therefore,
I think everyone's heard that argument already enough.
okay,
But you know, a poster does exist.
correct.
So I don't know. I get yeah, like physically, I don't know where it would appear. But then, isn't that true of all posters now? Like, where do they mostly appear digitally?
Yeah, but I see them adorning the walls of movie theaters.
No. So yeah, we'll count it.
All right,
Um, I don't know if it'll be a fair fight, but we'll count it.
fine. Well,
So
what are your thoughts here on this first poster?
well, I try I tried to get as hazy an orange background as I could manufacture,
Hmm.
because of this very poster. Initial thoughts, I mean it's I think it's a poster that demonstrates what Hollywood cinema was put on Earth to do, which is to leave nothing unexplained.
No doubts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean the concept of the movie, the location of the movie, the look of the movie, the star of the movie, the title of the movie, the tagline of the movie, all of it is stated and restated over and over again in this poster, and this almost like a kind of recursion like effect where the palm trees are almost like a
A
mirror
reference to
reflecting on itself.
there's like five references to Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Beverly. Yeah, that's
You
right.
have the sign, you have the palm trees, you have the title, you have is back and back where he doesn't
Yeah.
belong.
So, I think, it is, uh, it's very much in the vein of the poster that informs.
Yeah,
Um,
back when they used to do that.
back when they used to do that, where you kind of, you learned a lot just by looking at the poster.
Hmm.
Um, and what are your thoughts about it?
I'm kind of struck by the poster a little bit. I started thinking about the poster from the original film that I
Hmm.
remembered,
Yeah.
and I started thinking about which of those two posters would I pick because I think I lean towards originals as having the best posters generally.
Yeah.
But overall, and I don't know, a lot struck me about this poster right when you brought it up. And the one thing that immediately popped out to me that I had never considered before was the perspective.
Hmm.
I love the palm trees
Yeah.
and the distance they give with the palm trees on the right side, especially. But I also like that they're juxtaposed. They don't do the same thing on the left. I mean, they do,
Hmm.
but you know, we're at a we have different kind of angles,
Yeah.
and I love seeing that.
Yeah, definitely the illusion of depth in the background.
Right. And I got to tell you, the one thing I'm really, really struck by
Uh-huh.
that I don't think I'm noticing about the movie we watched until just now
Yeah.
is that this sunset color that is all over this poster feels like how the movie was shot.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it's I mean there's probably, you go you go to a paint store and you can probably get like,
Right.
Tony Scott orange.
Yeah. If you were to tell me what color palette that movie has, I would say orange and yellow, but I would not say the too much yellow of Spectre.
No, definitely not. No, it's yeah. You basically you take all the images from Spectre and you slap Vaseline over them
Right.
to get that gauzy effect
Right.
that all light in Tony Scott films um achieves. Yeah, and the it's got we've talked about this before, but it's able to compact a lot of different imagery into one single image,
Yeah.
which is a real art form for a poster. Right down to combining so many different fonts and um, italic
Sure.
styles. Even the title has three different
Yeah.
ones. So if you include the Eddie Murphy in there, Eddie Murphy
Right.
Beverly Hills
Yeah.
Cop 2. And is
They're all
that how
different from each other.
yeah, and how is that how Cop is written in the original poster, or is this a
I think so,
interesting? Because
as
it's
I
kind of
recall it.
graffiti, sort of
Yeah.
chalk or graffiti look to it.
And I only just noticed that uh we have the heat is back on
Hmm.
below that title.
Yeah. Yeah, three taglines as well.
Hmm.
Axel Folk is sort of like
Axel
Ax
Foley is back,
yeah,
back
it's
where
the
he. I like that doesn't is underlined just
yeah.
to, make sure we understand.
I like the idea like they first put it out and like someone might confuse that for does.
Hmm.
You really think so? They're gonna confuse it with the opposite? Yeah, I think
Right.
they might. Let's underline it.
Make sure they understand.
Yeah, that's it. Got to make sure everyone understand. So it's that idea of to me compacted excess
Hmm.
that is illustrative of this movie
And I also like that it's
and Tony Scott.
clean. I like that this
Very
poster is
clean.
clean, but not rigidly clean. I like the box that they create
Yeah.
that Eddie Murphy was in, with that he's within, and that there's the border of black. And even though there's a bigger black on the bottom, it doesn't look weird to your eye because you have the Murphy Beverly Hills and the title underneath,
Yeah.
and that the Beverly Hills sign goes above
Hmm.
doesn't bump me. That looks aesthetically pleasing within the poster. So I like that that there are parameters but no rules for the
Very,
poster.
that's a good way of putting it. I think if Wes Anderson looked at this poster, I think it would send him into a full Asperger's meltdown.
Right. Right.
But but to the untrained eye, it actually looks quite symmetrical, but it
Hmm.
isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It allows it's a little bit messy, it's a little bit off kilter. Um yeah, and right, like the I think it's also, and this might not be the case in all of the posters for this series or all the posters for Eddie Murphy's movies, but it's such a iconic look
Hmm.
for Eddie Murphy. I mean, it you take one look at the image of him here, and you're like, this is clearly when he was one of the biggest stars in the world.
Absolutely.
Because why wouldn't he be? Look at him. Look at him
Because
in
it's funny
that
when you,
outfit, with that
yeah,
face, with
he's
that
got his costume on.
with that gait. Yeah, he's got his Axel Foley costume on.
But it's funny because I referenced the poster from the original movie. And I think if you look at that poster and you look at Eddie Murphy, I would say you're looking at the character Axel Foley. Here, I think you're looking at Eddie Murphy in his Axel Foley costume. The
Interesting.
star, the star
Interesting.
is
Yeah.
there.
Is it also, I don't know, and I would need to do a direct comparison, but um, it kind of reminds me of the posters for his stand-up shows as well. Like the look of him kind of leaning
Yeah,
against the post feels like a way that that he
like
probably,
Delirious.
yeah,
He's not leaning in Delirious, but he's got kind of a, it's just kind of from the waist up, as I
right.
recall, or just below the dick area, possibly. But
But if you think about it,
but
like
he's
the
not looking directly in the. It just feels
yeah,
like a similar kind of angle on
but
that
having
poster.
having him full body and standing up, I think goes back to the fact that he is known as a stand-up comedian.
Maybe.
That's how we identify stand-up comedians rather than how we necessarily identify film stars, which is more about the face only, face and shoulders. Or, unless they're, known for their body like a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like you might be doing smarter work for them than they were consciously thinking, but
Well, I don't think it has to be smart. I think as long as, but yeah, I think they just might be thinking commercially about, prior images that have sold Eddie Murphy and
mhm.
how that works. And take you replace the gun with a microphone and it could be a stand-up.
Yeah,
I mean, I gotta say, looking at it now, I'm thinking this reminds me a lot, not just of his stand-up posters, but the Live on the Sunset Strip poster for Richard Pryor,
prior. Yeah. All right.
right down to the palm trees and the
Good stuff.
yeah. So, any issues with it?
Honestly,
No, not a one
not
for me.
really. I
No.
like the poster.
Yeah, yeah. I think it sums up the movie really well, and it stands alone as a post as an interesting poster as well. So
Yeah.
you can't ask more of a film poster than that. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
let's move on to no doubt your favorite of the three. Um, both the poster and the movie.
Well, it's funny because I when I did the posters for us,
It's like
I
spot
picked
the difference, isn't it? You're like, now, please tell me the difference between these two images.
well,
Well,
one might be described as good. Uh but it's funny because this is one of two posters that I remembered.
mm,
So there's also another poster where I think he has his back kind of to the camera and he's looking behind himself like that.
he's going to say, "Don't
But
look at me."
there's like a roller coaster
Oh,
that is technically in front of him, but that he's looking
okay.
away from back to us.
Well,
So,
that symbolizes the movie better
yeah,
than the it's
yeah.
looking away from a roller coaster.
But
Um,
what's funny to me about this is the poster, the first poster I remember seeing
hmm.
sort of in theaters, and that's why I chose it. But it's certainly interesting. It's as though everything's truncated, as though
Absolutely.
we know everything. So you don't get Eddie, just Murphy. You don't have Beverly Hills, just Cop 3. And it's the heat is not back on. It's just it's on.
This this looks like a poster from Bowfinger
Yeah,
with the fake Eddie Murphy, who's
right.
his brother. Yeah, it's that's oh god, it's even begins the tagline begins with an ellipsis.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, wow, that this is crazy. And like
You know everything that comes before it. It's on. It's what that
it's
says.
all shorthand.
Yeah. Everything about this is shorthand, which is funny because they take a long time between two and three.
Yeah, that exactly. So
But what
enough
I like
time.
about it in terms of this poster is that it means that the poster itself is as shoddy as the movie was and
Yeah.
as unsure as the star was while
Uh-huh.
making it.
Yeah.
It's because he was kind of half-assing his performance, I think, because he was in a funk apparently. But it's as
I think
though
half-ass
everything
is generous.
I think everything about the movie ended up half-assing, including this poster, which to
Yeah.
me is hilarious.
It's like it's transcribed from the dictation of an ad executive.
Yeah.
So we go Murphy, Cop 3, it's on.
Hmm.
Okay? And like, okay, great, I'll do that. No, 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 don't do that. Do something with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
do that. And then the guy in his head is just like, yeah, do that. Okay. No, 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 do something with that.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a name for Poochie, but, not as lame.
Yeah, but not as lame.
Wow.
And it's funny too, because when I tried to make you Eddie Murphy, certain posters present certain
We're
challenges
going to hell. I mean, there's
to
no two ways
me.
about it.
I
Between
know,
the
yes.
between
We're
the
just substituting
hijab and
ourselves for
jihad
African
nonsense,
Americans.
and you putting our heads on Eddie Murphy's face, we're
It's not
done
good.
for. We're off to El Salvador, but for good reason.
But it's interesting because you have that, like his shot, and then you have that sort of lettering below it. This is one of the only few things that I like. You know how even on the previous poster, directed by, produced by,
Hmm.
starring this, all of that, it takes up a lot of space. Really, the
Yeah,
only thing I like about this poster is how much ink they give to all of that. I like just two lines with that Paramount logo in the bottom right hand corner.
yeah,
That's about all I like. But I remember thinking, like looking at this poster and thinking to myself, maybe because of that print, I thought to myself, oh, it looks kind of sepia, like it looks like a sepia tone. And
yeah.
trying to get that. And the more I tried to make you sepia, the
Mm,
more I realized I don't think it's quite that. It's like between sepia and just black and white. And I
yeah,
really started to struggle with it.
yeah. The monochrome look is
Yeah.
surreal because it's not a noir,
Hmm.
and it's the least noirish of all the
Of
Beverly
all the
Hills
movies.
of
Yeah.
all the like you could sort of half justify it for Beverly Hills Cop, right? Because it's got like
Sure.
some police noir elements, but it's completely incongruous here.
Hmm.
So I mean, not only is it all short truncated shorthand, it's also misrepresenting the movie quite drastically.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, was the poster made when they didn't know what the movie was going to be? Because I
I
mean,
don't know.
he should have balloons on either side of him and
Yes,
cartoon
right.
animals like
There should be a
feasting.
cartoon fox crawling
Yeah,
up the back of his head.
But this sort of looks
going like
like
this.
this
Peace.
reminds me of like the poster for the Glass Shield or something like that, which this is not.
You're right.
Or, I mean, is it just the night, the style of the 90s kind of,
I don't
the
think
style
so.
of like
This,
the men's magazine look, trying to make Eddie Murphy. Now
like
he's
Men's Health,
Yeah,
maybe.
like now he's kind of or GQ now that he's aging a
Yeah,
little bit. They're trying to give him a classier vibe, even though I mean he doesn't, he hasn't aged, doesn't look like he's aged at all since the last movie.
yeah,
So you could treat his image exactly the same if you wanted to.
right.
Could just be like those like decades of Doctor Who where they had like, Tom Baker was the Doctor for like 10 years. And
Hmm.
like only in the last series did they replace the photograph of him at the beginning because it looked nothing like him anymore because he was 10 years older. But they don't need to do that. I think it's a style issue. I think it's like a headshot photograph and they were like, yeah, we'll just put that in.
Hmm.
Like I like this effect. Let's put it in, and whether it fits the movie or not hasn't
Yeah,
really
right.
crossed their mind. I think they're like, that's the best photograph of Eddie Murphy we have, so
Well,
let's
it's the
put
total opposite of what we just complimented the other poster for
yeah.
doing. The other poster tells you everything you need to know about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This poster tells you nothing you need to know about the movie. And if you
No.
go in just if you look at this poster, you think, well, it's whatever it is, it's on. And
Uh-huh.
Eddie Murphy is up for hijinks and shooting once again. And then the next thing you know, you're gonna go into the movie and you're trolling around a fucking non-existent theme park.
But and also, if I was to get it, the way he's holding the gun there, so this is sort of I'm slyly holding the gun at my side, anticipating
Mhm.
a fun shootout. This looks like he's about to turn the gun on himself. This is the news story that ends, and then he turned the gun on himself.
Right.
He's holding it in a position which is equidistant between murder and suicide.
Yeah, yeah.
It
The
could go either way.
the the next step is it goes in his mouth.
Yeah.
And that's it's alarming.
Yeah. It's really alarming. And it's just, it's not a defined image of him as well. Like why is he
Yeah,
so much
right.
in the shadows? Well, you have such a handsome guy like Eddie Murphy. I think it's a
Right.
waste to
Well,
have
like
him
you
in
said, it's as though
in
they're trying to
almost silhouette.
uh it's as though they're trying to put a noir bend to a movie that has no noir within it.
No, nowhere and nowhere in it.
Noir.
Yeah. It
Nowhere
also,
near noir.
I can also, as well as the ad executive dictating it, I can also imagine a coked up Robert Evans giving a Chinatown like pitch.
Sure.
It's Murphy, Cup 3. It's Murphy and water.
All right.
Murphy, theme park.
I'm ready to see the next one.
Well, that's it. That's where the posters end. So it's just those two to look at to know. I mean, that is the case,
I knew
but we
it. I knew it.
actually would have been hilarious if I didn't add it to the presentation, wouldn't it? But I did. There
If
we
I
go.
if I had guessed you out.
Yeah. Um.
Oh,
So
see, now I'm immediately noticing things I never noticed about the poster before.
the helicopter.
No, not the helicopter, but the trees. And it's as though they're trying to give the same effect from Beverly Hills Cop 2. It's just at a different angle because the camera's so low.
Hmm.
But you have palm trees on either side of them,
Yes.
and you have that sort of street perspective. But
Yeah.
I can't help but notice one, he
Hmm.
doesn't have his costume on. So he's got a fake costume on
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
because this is a different jacket.
Huh. But he wears the right jacket in the movie, doesn't he?
I can't even remember.
See, if I miss that he wasn't wearing the right costume,
Yeah,
I don't deserve to be a sequel prosecutor anymore.
that's
It's
exactly.
time it's time for me to retire and let a younger sequel prosecutor take the helm.
Right.
One of my ASAs.
It's time for Diane Weist to come in. Um,
Wow.
but
Yeah, it's just a brown jacket.
yeah, I mean they're going for Letterman, but it does. I think it's supposed to be
without
navy.
without the letters.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be navy blue still, but because
Hmm.
of the effect of the sun, it just looks brown, and he does not have the white leather sleeves anymore. He's got the clothy gray sleeves.
I wonder what the arrangement is with the it's the lions, right?
Yeah.
Like how does h- like wearing the like his do they have to get the rights to the image?
I don't know. They usually have to thank NFL or Major League
Hmm.
Baseball properties or
I mean,
something
yeah,
like that.
it's mutually
I don't know that
beneficial
they have to
enough.
ask permission though. I don't know.
It just made me wonder because you specifically can't see any logo here, and
Yeah.
you can there and you can there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just, Netflix being cheap.
Yeah, this poster is interesting because it seems as though they are trying to directly reference Beverly Hills Cop 2. You have a similar color
Hmm.
scheme. You have the orange and the yellows. It
Yeah.
does the same thing with the black box, but you can see it has parameters but not rules because the gun and his knee go out of the box,
It's very
as does the car.
the look of it is what I would describe as AI generated.
Yeah, yeah.
Not quite. I mean, it's another way of saying Uncanny Valley, but in a kind of specifically because it's 2024 in the context of AI, where it's like, give me, a Beverly Hills Cup
XLF
sequel
in poster form,
2024
please.
in poster form.
Yeah.
Because
But
nothing looks real enough, but nor does it look animated enough
mhm.
either. So you question whether it's real or not, but you get no answers either way,
Yeah, it's
which is a
so
specifically an AI thing that
yeah,
has kind of taken
it's an
over the
AI
Uncanny
thing
Valley.
because I look at Beverly Hills Cop 2 and I what I see is a movie poster
For a
and
movie.
for a movie. And when I look at this, I am seeing something that is essentially trying to be the exact same thing in a different way, but
Hmm.
it does not at all look like a movie poster.
And it has to fit on
And
a
not just because it says only on Netflix at the bottom.
it kind of when I see this the context I think of it being in, and this is maybe where the closest we get to physical poster on the red box machine,
Yes, exactly. Right.
which and I think they're about this
They're like
size.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that'd look fine in that context.
Uh-huh.
Like it is
Yeah.
decent enough, right?
Right.
And because because it has to be visible through that really thick, clear,
That
clear
plastic. Yeah.
plastic that they so maybe that's why it's kind of looks a little kind of fuzzy, a little animated, because the colors really have to come through the
Right.
thick plastic cover.
I have another thing about this poster because this is the first time that we're essentially seeing Eddie Murphy in profile.
Mm,
And I have a sinking feeling that it has to do with, and this, I'm not saying this is generated by Netflix or anybody else. It could be even Eddie Murphy himself.
yeah.
Because you notice that Eddie Murphy is carrying extra weight since the last time we saw him
but
in this movie.
not on the level of a Martin Lawrence, which is all
Correct.
that's the only time you need to get involved.
Right, right. But and I mean, look at his face.
He
His
doesn't look
face
like a
his
he
face
doesn't
looks
look like a
exactly the same basically. And he's like a
right,
what is he, between 60 and 65 at this
right.
point?
He looks great.
So he
And
looks amazing.
he hasn't turned into a McNugget. That's the important
Right.
distinction. Like Martin Lawrence has become one of the
Sure.
McNuggets.
But I remember Eddie Murphy saying something to the effect of when he did another 48 hours that he was really heavy for him in that movie
I
and
don't remember that at all.
that he didn't like that because
Hmm.
he was the heaviest he'd been in his whole
Okay.
life when he filmed that movie and he didn't like seeing himself on the big screen like that.
Uh,
And so
as a yeah.
so I take that to mean that this poster could be like, well, let's shoot you straight on like we normally do. And he's like, no, I think I look a little wider than I normally do. Let's put that kind of
Well,
bulky jacket and it'll cover my ass a little bit.
the
No.
the problem is he hasn't been a fat guy as long as I have because I can tell you profile is the worst thing you can do if you're trying to conceal weight.
Yeah, but if you see like his leg placement and his arm placement, it's covering things up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's also the Letterman jacket looks more like a Cosby cardigan.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And okay, so no, sorry, a Huxtable cardigan. All right, let's not.
Yeah, let's do that.
The Cosby cardigan gives it other, yeah, a Cliff Huxtable cardigan. So there's the idea of him as father as getting a little bit older, but
Yeah.
he's still wearing the jeans well.
Hmm. I like that I'm seeing his Adidas because he has Adidas in the original movie.
I don't like the look. It's very kind of it's like when he impersonates homosexuals in his stand-up act. That's the face he makes.
Right.
And I don't know why he's making that
Yeah.
here. Unless he's trying to
He
he's
looks
trying,
like he's about to say herpes simplex tan.
yeah. I mean I don't know if he's trying to retrospectively make it look like I wasn't making fun of homosexuals. That was always that was my
Yeah.
face. That was just my face. But there's a bit of a kind of the kind of pursed lip look at the and also let's yeah, he's looking into the camera in all of them
Yeah.
except that two looks like he's looking at somebody.
Hmm.
There's no life behind those eyes there in the three.
Three looks more like, why don't you look at me? Here I am.
It's like, how much am I paying for this headshot? All right,
Yeah.
better be good. Um, Whereas this is sort of like, he's like looking at a nipple slip or something.
Titty.
Yeah. Um, I mean the interesting that they
I was
include
gonna
the
say we
helicopter.
have not talked about the helicopter yet, and I kind of want to
I
talk
mean, it
about it
is a
because
big part. It is.
it's an oddly specific moment from the movie to pick out to kind of put into your poster,
And yet one that we talked about a lot. So
but as also being successful. So there's that.
successful looking, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but boring. Like all aviation sequences in movies. Anything above or below land is a fucking disaster.
That's your thing, okay?
Yeah.
I
No,
like
well,
Blue
is
Thunder.
I saw the other day I saw a post on uh Facebook, which was like I get all the James Bond algorithm
Sure.
stuff,
Yeah.
and it was like just a post about Thunderball, and it began though it was though it was criticized for its overlong underwater sequences, and then it went on to kind
By
of
Tom Stewart.
but defend the movies. it was just like but if that's what it's famous for, there's really no way to talk around that. going back to Cosby, there's only one thing that anyone's gonna keep coming back to again and
Yeah,
again. We're not
right.
gonna be able to sieve that out of the mix. Um, yeah, I mean the plastic look of it is problematic, but expected for this level of filmmaking.
Right.
Um, and it's yeah, I mean it fittingly doesn't feel real.
Hmm.
It's another it's you know like those fake posters those AI generated fake posters that people make online. Maybe that's how this project started its life, and someone saw it. It's like, oh, okay, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, I mean, do you? Is there anything about it that you're drawn to? Because I know that you like the movie more than I do. I wonder if you like the
Overall,
poster.
it's so weird because it there's literally a kind of Jekyll Hyde problem with the poster in the sense that it evokes what Beverly Hills Cop 2 does in the sense
Mm.
of the framing, the color scheme,
Hmm.
how it sits, and kind of attacks your eyes. But
Yeah.
but but the other half of that is that it looks fake.
Hmm.
So Axel fake.
Well, I mean, that's not unlike what the movie does. It takes something that was once real and
Mhm.
reproduces it in a fake fashion. Um, yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
it's kind of yeah, like
I I just wonder, like now I'm really curious to see what happens with our alignments. Do do any of our alignments switch from the movies themselves as we talk about the posters?
possibly not for me at least, and possibly not for you, going off the tone of what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
And it yeah, that so
because I know which poster bothers me the most, and the one that
mm,
I have ranked dead last.
but again it comes down to it comes to it's hard because it comes down to what bothers me more because there are two of these posters which to me frankly don't have any redeeming characteristics.
Hmm.
So it comes down to what do I hate more in a poster. Um Something that really offends me about this poster is sort of the pretense of being a movie, like having the cast and crew, how it looks in a normal poster,
I was waiting for you
the R rating
to mention that. Yeah.
as if that's the same on streaming.
Hmm.
And also, and then having the big
I
Netflix and
don't
then the
remember,
little
by the
Netflix.
way, because there are Netflix movies, say like The Glass Onion,
Hmm.
that I saw in a theater that was released for a couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
right.
But I don't remember even New York or LA getting Axel F in
No,
any movie
no.
theaters,
Mm-mm.
correct?
It's not what I think there is. That's a distinction. That's a distinction between movies that they put out to win movie awards
Hmm.
that they put in the cinema for a limited release before it goes on the platform, and then
Yeah,
there's it's a this is a made for streaming movie.
right.
I think that's a different thing from what you're talking about in terms of the Glass Onion or um which was it Roma that was it Roma on Netflix?
Roma, and wasn't there a cowboy related? movie. I don't remember.
Well, there was the I don't think there was the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but that never got. I don't think that ever got a theatrical release.
Um,
The Coen Brothers anthology,
I would swear that maybe that did.
the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that was the one I was thinking of.
El
I
Camino got a limited release, a
see,
limited
and you
theatrical
mentioned that
release. Though.
before, and I didn't remember that at
I mean,
all.
it was literally a weekend, but
Yeah.
if you picked one of two dates, you could go and see it
Hmm.
in the theater and have a completely pointless activity.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, anything else
No, I'm all right.
about this one? You just don't want to give me more rope to hang you with.
Yeah,
So, let's let's start from the bottom.
I'm ready.
Um, are
Or
you
do you want
ready?
to go first?
Ready set on this, or shall I predict what your bottom's going to be?
I see you moving to your computer dials to bring up a new poster, and yeah, this is the
Yeah.
worst one. Just like it's the worst movie. This is the bottom of my list right here.
This is just all the bottom of your list right here.
Yep. In every way possible.
Everything you see is the bottom of your list. Yeah, everything you see and everything it refers to is the bottom of your list.
Yeah, I like the more I look at this poster,
That's
I
garbage.
it's so terrible. And I'm almost offended by how little they think they have to communicate to us.
Yeah. If only they could find a way of making the letters at the top and the bottom do the kind of tile effect that you have in The Fugitive. It could
Uh-huh.
almost save it, but you can't do that in two
Yeah, you
dimensions.
need
You need motion to
you
make
need
that happen.
motion for that
You need
one.
animation essentially to make that happen. But I like that. I like me the stretch fat lettering,
Uh-huh.
but that's it. It's not even good fat stretch lettering. Yeah. This is tough for me. Um,
I figured it would be tougher than the movies were for you. And I could see you not wanting to relent just out of spite, just to punish me. But
I'm
this
an I'm
poster is bad.
it is bad, and the question is it worse than that?
No. I mean,
Than
yes.
that? You mean
I almost.
you almost talked yourself
Your
out of
Honor,
it?
Your Honor. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. I just misspoke. I just misspoke. It's like Jack McCoy tripping up somebody on the stand. That's not what I meant.
So the sheer laziness of this convinces me that it's worse
All right.
because you know even the minimal effort of writing or dictating to ChatGPT
Mm-hmm.
the the conventions of the poster it wanted is more effort than they went to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've because look, I mean they've not even thought about background.
Right.
There's that's not oh, let's not have a background. That they didn't
Yeah,
get to
right,
that
right.
thought. They just went, shit, we forgot to put in a background. Or maybe nobody realized that to this day that they didn't
I
put in
wonder
a
if I
background.
can.
Nobody talked about it, nobody considered it. And that laziness is just writ large over the poster. It's lazier than the actual movie, I think, which is really saying something.
That is saying something.
Sloppier.
Did you see that other poster I was talking about when you were doing this?
I don't think so.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, that well, that's
that weird?
That's very strange.
I thought his back was to us, but it's not.
Yeah.
He's just sort of turned.
That's too Mortal Kombat, I think, for some good.
This one says in for the ride of his life.
Better tagline.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay, so what but essentially from that brief glimpse you gave me and your reading of the tagline, this is the worst of the two
Yeah,
posters.
it is. Yeah, yeah. It is.
So another reason why it should go dead bottom.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm not gonna fight you on that. I think when you omit so much information from a poster, you deserve to be
Yeah,
called on it. You
because this
deserve
poster, this other poster has his full name, the full title,
it's not
and a full tagline.
they've just not done their job in any
So
meaningful way.
funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow. It's as if, in addition to all the problems that Beverly Hills Cop 3 is, that I was gonna say they didn't have a title sequence, but they didn't either.
they did it. You're right.
They didn't. They didn't, but it would be like not having a title sequence and not having end credits as well. So yeah, you're right. Maybe there's definitely a
Oh,
correlation
that's
between
funny.
the sloppiness of the poster and the sloppiness of the movie. But
Yeah.
this to me is even sloppier than the movie.
Not to be.
No, I know,
They're
I
equally
know,
measured
and
sloppiness.
it's I'm gonna draw that line in the sand, but the tide's gonna come away and wash that line pretty easily.
All right. Well, this feels kind of like a foregone conclusion based on the way we've talked about it. This poster's my next poster.
Yeah, something else I just noticed is I thought that in 2024 we could make an image that is completely fabricated look like it was taking place in the same image. Like everything was taking place in the same world.
Hmm.
But it looks like they literally superimposed Eddie Murphy onto this image,
Yeah.
which I feel like we should be beyond now if it's all fake. Like, shouldn't it all look the same? Shouldn't it all look equal in a way that it still doesn't
The one
regularly?
place that I'll disagree with you is the back of his coat does look like it's getting that sun from the right
Okay.
side of the poster.
But his face looks like
His
it's
face looks as though it's from a completely different place.
John Landis, maybe.
That's not even Eddie Murphy.
It's just John Landis in blackface.
Now we're really gonna get sued.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like John Landis is due a trouncing in court at some point in his life. Um, I had another. Oh, we didn't mention what he's doing with his gun.
That
Again,
was
it's
really hard for me to try and get my hand on there. That was very difficult.
oh yeah, sure. But also, so the gun goes over the line.
Hmm.
I'm not. It's not going to be enough for me to say it's worse than the other one. But that's not good. That's not good graphic design, as we know.
Yeah, but we liked it in the number two
Yeah, but
poster.
it
But
didn't go over
overall, I
they
agree with
didn't
you that
color outside the line. They managed to they never color outside the lines. That's the difference. This
well,
would
but
I
no,
mean
like because the Beverly Hills sign.
Wes Anderson's head would explode for this one.
Yeah, this one it's weird because it's kind of following the same rules of Beverly Hills Cop 2 in the poster,
Mm.
but that car just blocking out the whole
Ah,
right bottom side of the poster is weird.
yeah.
As does his whole body, like the whole bottom of the poster, as opposed to the
Hmm.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 is contained on the bottom, and this
Yeah,
one just spills out over the bottom in a weird way.
yeah. And the
So,
red, the you know, it's like the red is Netflix as well as XLF. I don't like that.
mhm,
They should have gone with different shades of red. They kind of look like the same shade of red.
they do.
Like we own you now, bitch.
But
Big bitch.
I will say that all the movies I go back to Beverly Hills Cop 2 because they're always that kind. This one's a little lighter actually. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
See, even that
yeah.
weirdly looks more incorporated as an image,
Hmm.
even though he's clearly not there.
Yeah, no, right, right.
But
He's not even really up against that sign.
you're right. But it kind of looks there's a I don't know that like the illusion of depth, there's an illusion of
Yeah.
coherence.
Hmm.
And I don't understand why we can do that in fucking 1987 and not now.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of replacing photography with digital imagery if you're going to make it look less
You know what's funny to me about
photorealist?
this entire conversation? Because there's a part of me when we came up with this idea that thought to myself, will people really listen to us drone on about movie posters for an hour? But I
Yeah.
think we're bringing up important points here. I think people
Well, of
should
course,
listen to
of course
this.
you think that, and I also think that. Oh, I mean, the limits of what people will listen to other people
Yeah.
droning on about are infinite in the modern media era. So I don't think you need to be worried. I think you need to be worried about that. But
This is the best poster. Look at it.
it's really good. It really
I'm trying to remember. I might
it
have had this poster.
it excites me and it reminds me of what it feels like to be excited by movies that are coming out.
Yeah.
So, which is a very old man yelling at cloud
Yeah.
style point, I concede. But
Every time I see a preview, I was about to say of a movie I want to see. What a hilarious thought. Because I see
it's
so
yeah,
much. But it's different now, even
yeah,
for me. Even if I think, oh, that looks good, I'm not excited for it. I'm hopeful.
yeah, yeah,
And it's different than being excited for a movie like I was at this time.
yeah.
And I don't think that's just age. I don't think that's just
It's
my age.
difficult to, it's
I think
difficult to
it's
tell.
movies.
I do too, but I wonder how far that goes outside
Mm,
of, you know, subjectivity and
yeah,
generational perspective and things like that. And
sure.
but the rational side of the historian side of me sort of says that it's all in our minds, but I can't make my beating artistic heart
Yeah,
tell me
right.
that. It just won't. It refuses to concede that you know this is a worse made image than that.
Hmm.
It's just not. I can't do it. I can't make my
Yeah,
eyes, my heart, my soul,
yes, exactly.
my understanding of color and light and texture make those distinctions
Yeah.
and say, well, to the generation now, is that their idea of what reality is, though therefore it's more real than
Hmm.
this? And maybe there's something in that, but at the same time, the one is kind of well, they're both distortions, but there's rules to this one about representation
Right.
that have left us by the time of Axel F. and its poster making, and
Yeah.
that saddens me.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Because that I did feel like there are rules that go back to like the beginning of like the beginning of arts, the beginning of storytelling,
Hmm.
and you abandon them at your peril.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, then maybe that's too broad a point to make, but
I don't know. I was with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is, I mean, far
This
and
is the best
away,
one.
yeah. And that's kind of so the posters are pretty much consistent with the movies in the sense that there's a huge drop off between this and the other two.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Both in poster and on film.
yeah. Um, but this is great, and this is one of those posters that we've seen where there's far too much going on, but it doesn't look like it.
Hmm.
And that I think I'm starting to realize from going through these posters is the real niche of the art form.
Right.
It's like, how do you say all this and say it several times over without it feeling repetitive or um overloaded? All right. Well, there you go. So there's the final verdict on the posters and on the Beverly Hills Cop series. Um, we may return to it, but not in the immediate future.
I mean, it keeps happening, so
Yeah,
we have work to do
we do. We do. We've got enough other franchises which have
building
had
back,
sequels since
scrapping
we've
back.
covered the episodes that
Yeah.
we've got to return to them. Um, right. Well, so the only question remains, where do we go next?
You had an
Um,
idea, as I
I
recall.
did, yeah. And I'm gonna if you can vamp for 1 second, well, I can just cut this out. I
Vamp,
want to
vamp, vamp. Vampity, vamp, vamp.
No, that's not how vamping
No?
works.
Are you
That's
sure?
yes.
I'm doing
It no
exactly what you asked me to do.
Nor does talking like Dracula, nor does
I,
sucking your own blood.
you know what I watched? Because I was watching, or not watching, but listening to Blank Check,
Yes.
and they're on Spielberg right now. And so
Yeah.
they talked about Hook, I think with Lynn Manuel Miranda. Do I have
Why
that name right?
is he doing a musical remake of that?
No, I think he's just, I think he was just, he was enthusiastic about doing that movie with them. And it was a funny episode. And I hadn't seen Hook in so long that
Yeah.
I rented it and watched
Oh,
it.
what's your glutton for punishment?
See, I like Hook. I people have problems with Hook, and by no means is this a
People not far away from you either.
yes, I know. I figured that was the case.
Oh, I mean, come on. It's I got problems with better Spielberg movies than Hook.
Right, right.
Come on.
So, but because I've been watching it, I've basically been talking like uh Dustin Hoffman for
Hmm.
all of today, finding myself yelling and cursing and I hate Peter Pan.
Hmm. Very
It's just a
good. That's
great
a very
voice
good
to
guess.
be in.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we can cut that
And say
out.
what you will about Hook, I think that's a brilliant comedic performance.
By Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
Yeah, good. I hope you weren't trying to claim Robin Williams.
no.
Uh,
I actually
although
kind of admire how, especially for the time he made it, how reserved he is in that film.
this the sadness of his performance is one of the reasons why I really struggle with the movie.
Mm.
I think he strikes the wrong tone for once in his life. Once in his life, he's not being funny enough.
Yeah, right.
Um, Well, I just double checked that these are still available on streaming platforms, and they are. They're available on Prime Video.
Hmm.
So you mentioned you wanted to do a series that was just two sequels.
Yeah.
Now this is a big one,
Oh,
um, but I think the stars are aligning for us to do this next.
talk to me.
Um, I tease you a little bit. It's a very early film series,
Hmm.
maybe the second or third earliest we've done, perhaps.
Okay.
Not as what's the earliest we did? Pink Panther? Was that as
Panther,
far?
I guess. Planet of the Apes starts later, right?
Well, it's kind of between those two.
Hmm.
So that's how early we're talking.
Like 1970?
Like mid to late 60s, I think.
Ooh.
So definitely a formative film series, and I would say you wouldn't necessarily think of it as a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually when you know when I finally say what it is, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's one of the biggest film series of all time. But you wouldn't think, but just like
Hmm.
offhand, you would never name it as such.
Yeah.
Um, it contains only two sequels, and I'm interested in pursuing. One of the reasons I'm interested in pursuing it, aside from the fact that it's available free, for which
Yes.
it often isn't, is that I think it is a rarity amongst film series. It's a series that is famous for defying all the logic of sequel cinema
Hmm.
that we hold to now, and even more curious in that it happened so early in sequel cinema,
Okay.
and yet it broke all the rules of what to do with sequels before those rules existed almost.
I don't think there's a Cool Hand Luke 2 and 3.
He keeps just getting put back in jail,
Yeah.
or as his children do. he
In
starts
the
take he
in the
starts
third
take
one, he's sentenced to be somebody's butler, like a Seinfeld.
he just keeps attacking different kinds of public property. So it's like then
Yeah.
is it what is in Cool Look? Is it mailboxes that he's
Mm,
oh parking meters? Isn't it
parking
parking meters?
meters, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he goes to mailboxes and then
He's playing
fire high.
mailbox
He's just
baseball,
like
like
releasing fire
Stand By Me.
hydrants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. You're in sort of roughly the right generic territory though. Not a prison
There's They
movie.
Call Me Mr. Tibbs. Is there a second one?
No. That is there's In the Heat of the Night, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, and there is another one of those, but
There's
it's not
another
that.
one though, right?
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
that.
but it's not that.
Okay,
Hmm.
so it's not contemporaneous, it's historical.
No, historical. Uh, am I even close in the right vein? Are there like terrible little known Butch and Sundance sequels?
No, and I will say that at least one of the two movies is probably one of the most critically acclaimed American movies. Actually, I don't know if you'd call it an American movie. Has Americans in it.
What the fuck? I don't
Yeah.
know. Damn it.
All right. Well,
What
I
are there other clues? Mid
trying to think any
60s.
more clue. Any more clue? So yeah. So mid to late 60s. Um, two sequels. Famous one. Okay, I'll give it to you like this. I think this. If you don't get it with this, then I'll just have to tell you. I have to tell you.
Okay.
The the third movie in the series is by far the most famous in the series
Oh shit.
by a country mile. The third movie in the series just went out on its own and lives on its own planet.
Oh,
And
you
that's
got to
what
tell me. I'm so excited now.
so hopefully hopefully this tease means you're willing to go along with me here. But
How
next
great would
up,
it be if I said no?
you'd be like, ah no. You'd be like,
I don't want to do that.
I just watched those. Um you probably did just watch them actually. Uh so I suggest that our next series is the Dollars trilogy.
Oh, of
For a
course.
few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's two
Yes.
sequels to A Fistful of Dollars. Yes?
I can't believe I didn't think of it.
Well, and that's part of the attraction for me is that it's not something that I really considered sequel cinema until I sat down and thought about it.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not going to say any more than that, but there's a quote from someone that I'm going to talk about when we do the episodes, and it's kind of I want to test their theory of what this series does that's unlike any other film series.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I've got your backing on. Yeah,
I am
so there
all
you go.
for it.
It's a big my only hesitation was that it's a big one.
Hmm.
They're maybe two of the biggest film sequels out
Absolutely.
there, but and one of them I think is you know much more famous than the like standalone famous.
Back to the
Um,
Future famous.
but oh well, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it, but can you think of another series in where the third in the
Right.
series is the one everyone knows,
Yeah.
and people don't even necessarily know that there are other films in the
Movies in
series
the series, right.
that came before it. So I think it'd be going to be a really interesting one to explore, and it'll also be kind of compact. Um, so that's where I think we should go from here.
Love
And you
it.
know me, I love to go back as far in history as our listeners will tolerate us going. If it was up to if I wasn't even thinking about our
We'd
audiences,
never go past the year 2000.
well, we'd be doing like Son of Kong and After
Yeah,
the Thin Man and we should and
we
Bride
should.
of
Yeah,
Frankenstein. We should absolutely go there.
right.
Um, but uh, going back to the '60s is pretty far for
Love that.
yeah. So there you go. Look forward to that coming to your earbuds in the
I'm
near
all for it.
future
Love it.
for a few dollars more and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm, mm, mm.
We get to talk about Clint Eastwood again.
Yeah,
And Klaus Kinski, possibly for the first time. I don't think we've covered a Klaus Kinski movie.
I don't know, week and a half ago or so, I sat on my glasses and they could not withstand the girth of my ass, and I broke my glasses.
I've been there.
So I needed to order new glasses, and that was taking some time. And then I had an old pair
Hmm.
that I took to work, and it's just trying to bend them into a shape that still kind of remotely fit my head, and they snapped just like in my hands. And out
Oh,
came the lenses, and I looked like Clint Eastwood all night as I was,
squinting into people's eyes.
everyone, what do
Oh,
you want?
this is maybe the squintiest Clint.
Yeah.
He is Squint Eastwood in these movies. He's always looking at that desert, looking through that
Yeah.
desert sun. Yeah, absolutely.
He's not a soapy bathtub Bridges of Madison County, Clint. Tell you that much.
Not even pigeon identifying in the line of fire, Clint Eastwood, who is also it's they try to make him a tough guy in that movie, but he's just an old man who has a name for all the pigeons.
Yeah. Guess I overreacted again, huh, Harry?
So you go. So, but we're
Love it.
yeah, we haven't covered Eastwood since Dirty Harry,
Hmm.
and we won't again until Any Which Way You Can,
Absolutely.
which we will get
We got
to.
to find what else was released that
Yeah,
year.
but all, but both the Dollars trilogy and Any Which Way You Can are formative movies of my youth in
Me
different
too.
ways.
Any which way you can. There was a time I would watch that final fight like every day after school. I just go back and rewind it and watch it
Yeah,
again.
with the biker with
Uh,
the hairpiece.
yeah,
Yeah,
they go through that like a tar.
so that's that's
I
that's
like when
ex
the doctor tells them what they're going to have to do and strip it all off. Clint Eastwood says, painful. He goes, yeah, it's not going to be good. He goes, too bad.
Well, I'm very excited about that.
I am
So there we
too.
are. Uh, well, that's it. That's all she wrote.
Love it
We're uh, so this series is done. If you have
for now.
opinions about what we said about the posters, what we said about the movies, what we didn't say about the movies, any religious groups we've offended, um, please find us on out there. We're out there in the world of social media.
Yeah.
In its
Or fuck
both
off. No,
both
I'm just kidding.
both in its murky and respectable version. So we're on X and we're on Blueski, which we've been asked to pronounce it correctly by one of our patrons.
We have?
Heather Patterson, yes, has criticized our pronunciation of Blue Sky as Blueski. To which I responded, and I hope she appreciated this reference. Blueski, I says. Going back to Clint Eastwood
I
and
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if she'll get the Unforgiven reference.
Blueski, I
I gotta
says.
send her a text on that one. That's great.
So we're on Blue Sky, we're on X, we're on Facebook, and we are on Instagram and Threads as well. Um, if indeed those aren't the same platform. Not quite sure how they're not. But anyway, you can find us in any of those places. You found us here on YouTube. So if you want to listen to our episodes
Congratulations.
here, you can. We've got more of these poster ranking episodes. We've got feature length watch alongs that we used to do.
And all our
Um,
regular episodes as well, right?
yeah, that's it. You can just listen. You can stay on YouTube and hear and see everything we do. But you can also find us on our regular feed, and you can also sign up for our Patreon and get even more of one
Fantastic
this
content.
fantastic content. Yeah, every month we do two bonus Patreon episodes. We might talk about originals of movies we've seen, reboots of movies we've seen. We might be ranking
Or
our favorite.
anything other than those movies,
Yeah.
generally getting off topic,
Yes, that yeah, rank
but in fantastic and comedic ways.
my autobiographical experiences with magpies.
Magpie
Uh
fights.
Magpie fights. Um so yeah, you can
Oh,
check us
that's a
out.
t-shirt. Magpie fight?
Magpie fights. Well, I think John Landis's minstrel shoulder is also
That's a good one.
is also also
That's
a good t-shirt,
quality
but not
t-shirt.
one you could wear in public. which maybe suggests it's not a good t-shirt. If you had a way of switching John Landis's minstrel show to goddamn big bitch
Right.
based on the company you're keeping, I think
We
that
need,
would.
like that poster that needed to switch to
Yep.
the fugitive letters. We need a shirt that just
Yeah. Harrison Ford, Harrison Ford.
if you have a
Tommy
like
Lee
a
Jones,
little,
Tommy Lee Jones. The
you've
fugitive,
got a
the
little
fugitive, the fugitive.
clip thing,
Yeah.
like a little chain pulley. You just can switch shirts.
Here's a proposition for you. I don't know why I like that idea. I don't know why you'd offend us, but if you're not a fan of sequels, but you're just a fan of The Fugitive, we talk
Just
about
listen
that
to our
movie a lot
podcast.
just because we are an unofficial Fugitive podcast. That or The Simpsons. If you like The
Yeah.
Fugitive or The Simpsons or Seinfeld or Spinal
Seinfeld,
Tap, we probably talk about
Rockford
those more than
Files,
what we're at Rockford. Yeah, if you're into the Rockford Files,
Pac-Man Fever.
I will. The theme to the A Team. You you'll hear about how the Rockford Files did all the best writing of the 20th century. So yeah, that's where all the different places you could find us. Sign up for our Patreon. You can even do a 7-day trial before
Commit
you
to
sign
money,
up before you commit to money. So you can feel free to
but
steal
you
our
should
content.
commit to money.
Yeah, you should. It's worth you. I think it's good value.
Yeah.
I have Patreons of
I
other
think we do way
podcasts.
more work than most people do for Patreons.
I think so. I think we're
I'd like to
we're
do less work.
so let us know if you'd like us to do less work. Um yeah. So but there's a lot of content out there and a lot of ways to find us. And that's it. And I before we go, I just want to comment on your fantastic Red Wings
Yeah.
jersey. Great pick. As
Captain,
featured
baby.
in Axel F.
Hmm.
Whereas I am just John Ashton in Midnight Run was the closest I could get, I think, to any of this. So that's what I went
You're
with.
you're John Ashton on his vacation or his little stint in Arizona.
There we go. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to talk about it.
Right.
I also realized just now that I look like Bear from Get Shorty as well.
Get Shorty. Yeah, I was just gonna
Give me a
the
ponytail
second
and a.
you said bear, I was like, he's talking Get Shorty.
I tell you the of the many blessings that came along when James Gandolfini entered our lives
Hmm.
before he sadly left too soon. It's the legitimation of the chubby male uh
Actor.
sartorial. Yeah, right. That that
Yeah.
it that it, be, it became a factor of sex. Dennis Franz delayed a little bit of the groundwork, but I feel like Gandolfini really took it into a new stratosphere
Yeah.
where you could really leave that gut hanging out and still feel sexy because of James Gandolfini.
Thank God.
So, all right, R.I.P. Yeah. Great. Well, that's it from us.
It's gonna have to be.
Yeah. The heat's back off.